How did the world come to this?
Wise men servicing the whims of women.
Mary is our foe. We must never bow to her as we bow before you.
You have the boldness to doubt my judgment.
She is only your queen if I should not produce an heir.
What is it like to have a man?
So I really enjoyed the film. I want to ask you a bit of a generic question first. What drew you all to it?
I thought it was a number of reasons. It was a brilliant script. Often you can read period films and they're quite detached and stuffy, and this was the opposite of that. Beau Willimon, who wrote House of Cards and wrote this, it was immediately kind of alive and very human, and I was a big fan of Josie's work, and Saoirse was already attached, and Margot, and just as a whole package, it was an exciting prospect to be a part of for me.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I just read it and thought this reads like a modern thriller, you know, and which is so unlike when you read period films. They seem to have a sense of themselves and their own importance, but this felt like it could have been. It was, I know I said it before, like it was accessible to be able to act it, you know, like it felt like this was really easy to speak, and that was exciting. And you were on it.
Well, yeah.
That was a big job.
That's why I got involved.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because I was on it.
You go.
Yeah, no, it did. Yeah, I mean, all the same, and her story, Mary's story, is such a fascinating story. It's so tragic, in a very short period of time. You know, a hell of a lot happened. So yeah, that alone, yeah.
And I want to ask you all, what were your favourite scenes to shoot?
I quite like doing the scene when I don't want to spoil things, but
she gets her head chopped off.
Yeah,
everyone knows that. Right?
No, when Margot. Just after our fencing, actually.
Oh yeah.
When Margot collapses and she's distraught about the prospect of losing me to Mary, I enjoyed doing that one.
I bet you did.
Yeah, I did.
I know, because they're fighting over you.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
But I also enjoyed the rehearsals of the fencing, which you don't really see in the film, but we had some fencing rehearsals, which were good fun.
Yeah, which got cut.
Yeah.
Not better. Not better at all.
I remember when we were shooting. Sorry, Joe, I know you weren't there, but you know I wasn't in your fencing thing. So, when we were filming in Scotland up.
Yeah.
It was to Scotland.
Yeah, a couple of times. And there was a whole kind of week where I don't think we had much to do, but we were always in the shot. So there was a sort of week where we were just always on horseback. That was my favourite.
Aye.
Do you remember that week when we were on that hill? I know, we were on that hill.
Oh yeah, the really, really steep one.
They're the best bits where like you have to be there and it's something fun, but you don't actually have to do anything important. Yeah. That's the best bit.
Yeah, anything on
That's the best bit of acting.
Yeah.
Dressing up on a horse, not doing anything important. That is bliss for me.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Are you afraid, Henry?
No.
Good. Because our swords are not just for show.
Jack, this is aimed more at you. How did you prepare to portray a gay character who is not really open with his sexuality in that time period?
That's a good question. I didn't prepare at all. I don't know what preparation you can do. No, it was. What I loved about him was that he seemed to. But I think, like most people in the story, it's a story for me about people using one another and what everybody can get from each other. Yeah. And what I loved was that he used his sexuality to become King Consort of Scotland. You know, he obviously does a scene where he does something that, you know, was sort of uncommon of the times or something like that, or like she didn't expect. And then of course, the very next morning he wakes up in bed with a man.
Yeah.
I just loved that. It just sort of added to the complexity of him and his sort of desire for everything. He just wanted to consume everything. He didn't seem picky, I think is the best way to put it.
Ismail will be pleased that you're saying that. Wasn't he picky?
No.
And even if the film is like centuries ago, it feels quite relevant. What lessons do you think the viewer can take away from the film?
If you can, get a horse, not an Uber.
Yeah.
I think it always makes a better entrance.
Beard and long hair can be tricky.
Can cover up anything.
In severe weather. What do you think of covering up? I don't know. I think.
Don't trust the people in power. I think
Exactly.
it really says that
Yeah.
more than anything.
It's funny seeing these conversations, like you were saying, in these big rooms with fireplaces and a few men huddled around deciding how the fate of a nation should play out. Is probably horribly familiar, actually, to a few handful of people and their whims today, deciding what's going to happen to all of us forever.
Yeah, God, that what he said, that was great.
Great, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.